today's episode of Evil Content Cop, we gotta talk about the new, critically panned film by Jerry Seinfeld called Unfrosted. Hey ladies, how's it going? My name is Dan Frampton, all one word, the O's a zero, but you can call me Evil iDubbbz, and we're here to throw somebody in content jail, and that content is a bad movie that I forced myself to watch. I saw that nobody was liking this movie. Metacritic, like 41%. Rotten Tomatoes, like less than 50% audience score. 41% critic score. Nobody's really vibing with this movie, so I thought, how bad could it be? I like cereal. I like Frosted Flakes. I like Pop-Tarts. That sounds like a good time for me. I'm also happening to be a pretty big Jerry Seinfeld fan. So I went in with an open mind, okay? But I have never seen a movie made more for old people than Unfrosted. I can't imagine anybody younger than the age of 65 enjoying this movie. But in Evil Content Cop fashion, I have 5 charges that I'm pressing against Jerry Seinfeld and this cinematic disaster that he and now everybody else in the world has to call Unfrosted. First citation. It's a felony. These are all felonies, actually. No misdemeanors. These are all big deal, big L, huge misses, okay? First felony over here is the premise. Right off the start, you're working with something so bad. Now let me explain to you what this whole premise is supposed to be, okay? This is like the invention of the Pop-Tart. Now does that sound like a fun movie to watch? Like, oh, let's go back to the origin of the Pop-Tart? No, it doesn't sound like a good premise right from the beginning. But if you have Jerry Seinfeld attached to this thing, and it's his directorial feature-length debut, maybe you might have something. But no, it really is as basic, as surface level as you think it would be. Of course, it's set in like the 50s or whatever, way back in the Pop-Tart golden age. And essentially the premise is the race for the first fruit-filled pastry. Who's gonna get there first? Is it gonna be Kellogg's or is it gonna be Post? Brutal premise. And that leads me to the second felony. The second major citation is the story within that premise. Oh, this will be spoiler riddled, okay? I do not care about spoiling this trash fire of a film. So the story basically starts at a diner and it has this kid. It looks like he's having a hard time and he orders a Pop-Tart. He starts reading the back of the box. The back of the box is like the story of the Pop-Tart, and in walks Jerry Seinfeld and he's like, that's not actually how it went down. Let me tell you the story of how the Pop-Tart actually came to be. And then, yeah, they go through the story of how the Pop-Tart actually came to be. Jerry Seinfeld's character works as like one of the main guys over at Kellogg's, just underneath the main Kellogg guy. So he's a very big deal, very important out there in the cereal world. Kellogg's had the formula for this pastry, but Post came in and stole the secret formula, but nobody got there first. What's this thing gonna look like? So both factions go back and forth until the Pop-Tart exists, okay? I'm not gonna get into every single story beat because it's useless. And that's gonna lead me to felony number 3, and that's the characters. These characters have no depth whatsoever. I understand the cartoonish nature that they're going for, and that kind of vibe would hit really, really hard if the characters were funny, okay? If this cartoonish thing was actually good, I would excuse it. But basically, like the Quaker Oats guy, he's a really Quaker Oats looking guy. You know what I mean? He's a real life guy. And then they have the mascots doing the whole mascot thing. And then there's this whole like January 6th rise up of the mascots, where at the end that they're gonna storm through the Kellogg's headquarters when there's this FDA stamp of approval about to go down. You know, very ham-fisted sort of stuff. The guy that plays Tony the Tiger ends up playing the January 6th shaman, but in like a cut-up Tony the Tiger mascot suit. That might actually be the funniest part of this entire movie. But these characters do nothing for me, and they're played by felony number 4, the cast. Now, it's a good cast. It's a who's who of comedians, but it's all Gen Xers and older, okay? Not a Zoomer or millennial voice to be heard. Everybody in this movie is an actor that would resonate with older people, okay? I'm on the young end of the spectrum of who these comedians appeal to. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm no spring chicken. Andy Daly playing that aforementioned Quaker Oats guy was probably my favorite portrayal in the entire film, other than the January 6th Tony the Tiger shaman guy. So if you can tell, I think that this thing is such a stinker. Right from the premise, the story, the characters, the cast, it's got nothing. And that just breaks my heart because I'm bringing all this around to number 5. This wouldn't hurt so much if it wasn't Jerry Seinfeld at the front of it. Jerry Seinfeld is a cultural icon, okay? Now, I didn't really like comedians in cars getting coffee or whatever. Thought that that was kind of trash. But the sitcom Seinfeld holds a very special place in literally everybody's heart that was alive at the time. And Jerry Seinfeld doesn't do a whole lot of creative work out there, okay? He's very selective with what he does. So when you hear that he's making his directorial debut at the age of 70 pretty much, you're like, okay, all right, I'm paying attention. What do you got from me, Jerry Seinfeld? Oh, the origin of Pop-Tarts? You want to make your big comedic directorial debut with the story of Pop-Tarts? Really? And Jerry's like, oh yeah, it's absurd. It's so funny right from the premise. Yeah, no, it's not funny, Jerry. Where was Newman? Could this movie have been fixed? Yeah, sure. You could work with this premise. It could be kind of funny to have these cartoonish characters out there, very one-dimensional characters, but we just need stronger jokes, better and funnier motivations. Throw in some slapstick humor for Christ's sake. It doesn't need to be highbrow. It just needs to be funny. The characters could have been good because the cast was good. You had good comedians playing these people. It just didn't hit. And you could have mixed it up a little bit to get the Zoomer audience, to get the millennial audience. And then if you just threw in some of that Jerry Seinfeld goodness, that show about nothing type energy, this could have been brilliant. This could have been like next level satire. Huge fall from grace. Biggest L. Worst movie I've seen all year, okay? I don't watch a lot of movies, but this is definitely the worst one of them. Now, all of that is to say that it is extremely bad, but it does have some redeeming moments. Some of the costume design, some of the set design, some... No, that's really all I can think of. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, and those were my final thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. You're now in the End Gang. That is the most illustrious, the most elusive gang that you could be a part of here on YouTube. I'm a small channel, okay? Very tiny. Only the real ones know about the Dan Frampton, all one word, the O's a Zero channel. Only the absolute real ones on the internet vibe with the evil iDubbbz, and now you're one of them. So comment down below, End Gang, and let everybody know how good of a time it is to be here. And everybody else that isn't in the End Gang, I think you're worthless and a piece of trash. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.